Right. Alright, welcome back. Good luck for tonight, you too. You too. It's gonna be it's gonna be something. Let's hope it's gonna be great again as we return to Broke Boys Tier 2. Round 9 of the season. Singapore. What is this thumbnail? I thought it was pretty fitting. I mean, someone's gonna end up into the wall. I know it's gonna happen. Might call it foreshadowing, but there's gonna be someone. Maybe not that wall, but that kink on the bridge, the inside wall. Might see someone kiss that piece of barrier. Hopefully not a V-carb though, because they've already done that twice. Yesterday in Tier X and Tier 1. Including myself. But anyway, Singapore, difficult track. Get right. And with the wall so close, difficult to keep your car in one piece. But as we take a look at the driver standings going into this race, we've got Sean leading the way by 2 points over Jesus, and then it's a 14-point gap to Thent Cannon, who had a bit of a disastrous race last week in Austria. Hope she can do a bit better tonight and increase her chances in the championship fight. But we've got Jesus and Sean, of course, very quick and consistent drivers. Here we have them, P3, P4 in this session. As we see Haza and Josh Boschman on outlap already. Josh Boschman invalidating. Not a great start. Oh, it's, cursed camera settings. Unfortunately for the Williams. I'm very sorry for that. Park formation. Oh, that's my bad then. I forgot to turn it off. Apologies. Hopefully it won't matter too much. Race is both dry and wet. Well, that's gonna be some spectacle then. In Tier X yesterday, it was forecasted to rain at the end of the race, but it never came. The last icon of the weather thingy was rain. didn't came though. Unfortunately, it was a completely dry race, but you never know. There's always a possibility of some wet weather, as Josh Boschman has just started his first flying lap. He's going to be the first one to attempt a timed lap. As he navigates his way through the first sector. Make sure to not run wide there. Could invalidate your lap on that. And it gets very tight into these few turns. Tight to the wall on the exit there as well. Don't get too tight to this wall on the outside, or you might end up in that barrier up ahead, like George Russell last year. Now a very difficult part of the track, this wall specifically, can certainly catch someone out, as Josh Boschman struggling for traction on the exit of the hairpin. Don't run too wide on that corner as well. Now onto the newly designed back straight. They removed a bus stop chicane. It's much better, in my opinion. But looks like he's kept it within the white lines. He did not in the final corner, but the game didn't give him invalidation. But it's across the line into a 28.3, not the best of opening laps, but it's a banker lap, and it's alright. Haza in P2 into the 29s on the mediums. So yeah, he's done that. Take a look who else is on the lap. We've got Sapphire Reese in the Haas across the line into the 27.5. That's more like it. It's a very good banker lap. Actually similar to my banker lap yesterday. Sean slots into second place. 27.7. I wonder if we're going to see any 26s. I highly doubt it. Sure hope not, because that's gonna be a bit embarrassing for me. Jens with an invalidation right behind Skorder, who is on a lap. And now let's see what they can set. And the final corner, don't pull off a Lance Stroll here. And he doesn't, keeps it within the white lines across the line. P5 with a 28.6 right behind Skokeler, who had a very nice race last week at the Red Bull Ring. P4 in the end. An incredible drive. And to finish without a track limit penalty certainly helped. The other McLaren of Yundi Sundi has invalidated as well, so struggles early on. Bry has gone out on the intermediates. Doesn't decide to come back into the pits. You do you. Tent Cannon, one of our championship leaders. And she's started her lap 39 seconds ago. Very close on the exit, almost into the wall. Very difficult to get right, very close to the inside wall as well, into the hairpin. And then onto this very short DRS straight. Bit of a useless DRS zone. You don't see any kind of overtakes happening there. Jens now into the top 3. A 28.0. Tent Cannon, what can she do? Can she go into the 27s? Not quite, 28.1. But it's good enough to put her into the top 4. Albeit with only 9 lap time set so far in the session, as Mitch has gone straight on at the hairpin. Found himself finding reverse gear on his outlap. the only one it looks like. Jens has gone off as well at the end of the sector 1. Gone straight on, no damage, fortunately. The Pickle is gonna be the next one to set their lap. Appear to be purple middle sector, but I highly doubt it. You never know on this game. Bit weird with the sector times, whether it's purple or not. Gonna find out though very shortly around the final corner. Bit of a lift and across the line into the 27s and into the top 3 with that lap. 0.8. I'm right behind Sean. Alpha High Wall had a disastrous race last week. It's involved in multiple collisions. 2 of which with McLaren driver of Chetty, and the second collision ended up with both of them out of the race and into the barrier. They end up receiving a penalty for it, but it's refreshed into this week, although big slide out the final corner, and that's enough to put him behind his teammate. And in P7 certainly lose a tenth or two with that. Josh Boschman into the wall on used to be the Singapore Sling. That's a while ago. His purple session now, that makes more sense. So yeah, that's gonna be for everyone's first lap. It's gonna be purple, purple, purple then. Hope Haas's not holding up for the McLaren behind. S10 Cannon across the line into the top 2 with a sizable improvement. Alexis Bees has just gone into the top 5. K1 Skies in the Ferrari across the line. B17 146, so definitely had a moment on that lap. Bry is finally out on track on a set of slicks. Only 7 minutes remaining. Let's take a look on board with the Alpine. To be absolutely flying at the moment. Not get the purple sector 1. Oh, and that's, I think there was a bit of a touch with the inside wall. Purple sector 2 though. Oh, that's a Mercedes going round. That is Zimniak, it is. Around the final bend, and his bank lap is gonna be a 27.5. That's an insane bank lap. 400s behind Reese. and Sean across the line, and he goes to the top with a 27.2, and that's 2.5 tenths quicker than we've seen so far. That's a good lap for our championship leader. At the moment, Jesus down in P13. No slowing down for Pry on his what should be an in lap. Still pushing on, and barely down on his time. But I think he's ran out of ERS a bit, so better pull straight back into the pit lane with 4 minutes and 44 seconds remain. And he does. Can Reese find an improvement across the line? He can find an improvement, 27.2, and it's back on provisional pole position. Only 400s in it between himself and Sean. Mitch finally gets the time on the board. Good enough for P15 at the moment. Josh Boschman also on a good improvement, 3 tenths up through the middle part of the lap. Across the line and into the top 5. That's a big improvement in the final sector. A 0.7. Enough minutes on the clock, and majority still in pit lane or just going out. Mitch on the lap, I'm not sure, not deploying any ERS. He's not on lap, 3 seconds off. And is that Josh Boschman who's gone off? It is Josh Boschman who's gone off, and that's damage to the front wing as well. So just after he set his lap, he's gone straight on. And that's ruined his chance of finding any more improvements. So he will not be back in pit lane in time for another lap. 2 minutes 40. It's not going to be able to make it. Take a look at Zimniak, who is on the lap. Is 10th Cannon on an improvement as well? She is just about started her lap as well. So Zimniak right now 6 tenths up in sector 1. That's very good improvement. I think I did hear him say invalidated 0.2 or 27.2, so could he try and challenge for a pole position maybe? Very close to the wall. Leaving no margin at all out there. 1.4 seconds up. This might be a pole position lap. He's 1.5 behind Reese at the moment. But if he finds any more time in the final sector, he is going to be on that front row and might be on provisional pole position. Let's take a look coming out of the penultimate corner and into the final corner. Zimniak, what can he do? Bit of a desync issue across the line. 27.1, and it is provisional pole position. As 10th Cannon has backed off and is preparing for another lap. Zimniak is done for this session, and he's going to have to hope that Reese or Sean don't find a 10th improvement. Jens has retired from the session as well at the end of the first sector. Sure what happened there. Is he crashed into the wall on the straight? That's impressive, to say the least. Alpha high wall into the top 4. Good lap for the Kick Sauber driver. Soul Demon. First race tonight, P17, with a good improvement though. Jesus, down in P15 at the moment. He is 4 tenths up though, in the middle sector. Reese starts his final flying lap. 8 seconds remain. Let's take a look at the man second in the championship at the moment, across the line, P15 up into P6, that's a good improvement. And Hasa now into the top 8 as well. Skoker across the line into the top 7, that's a good lap from him. Splits Tent Cannon and Jesus, only by a few thousandths of a second. Tent Cannon has invalidated unfortunately, but could not improve anyway. So is there anyone out there? Sapphire Reach not improving in sector 1. Sean is improving. He is over a 10th up. Just needs to nail this final sector, but he's invalidated. He's invalidated this lap. And that is his pole position gone. Let's take a look what the lap type was gonna be if he continues pushing to the line. 26.9. It was gonna be pole position, but he's ruined it. He's bottled it in the final sector as Pry goes to the top with a 26.7. So not quite pole position it would have been for Sean, but a 26.7. What a lap from Pry. And puts it on pole position, because I don't think anyone out there who is gonna be able to beat that. So we wait for Alexis Beast, final one to cross the line, at the moment in P14, but up by a couple of tenths across the line into the top 7. Good improvement, good lap. And let's see Red Bull inside the top 10, but Prime Storm on pole position by almost 4 tenths of a second over Zimniak, with a very good qualifying session as well. Sapphire Reese in P3 ahead of championship leader Sean. In the end, half a second off. It could have been a front row start. Alpha Highball will line up in P5 ahead of Lofty Pickle, Lexus Beast, Jesus, Skoker and Tent Cannon rounding out the top 10. Additionally in P11 ahead of Hasa, Scorer, Josh Boschman, Jens, Mitch, Soul Demon, F1 Skies and Hesby final car on the grid down in P19. That sees the end of qualifying. Now we can prepare for the race and gonna find out if there's gonna be any rain. 4 minutes time. Gonna get this race going. So a bit of a long wait, but it's gonna be a good one. A bit late out of the pits, got scared. I wasn't gonna make it, so I pushed too hard. Well, still impressive to crash on a straight in my opinion, but oh well. Shit happens. Well, let's take a moment to take a look at the constructor standings. I haven't mentioned them yet, but it's actually Ferrari leading the way by only 2 points over Mercedes and 4 points over Sauber. So it's incredibly tight in the constructors as well. So far, a great championship battle in both of the standings. Williams is a bit off, 31 points behind Ferrari, and Red Bull 39. Then it's Alpine, 32 points behind in P6, who shut up the order after a victorious Tolu last week, getting his maiden win. Look at the tires briefly before lights going out. Very mixed between everyone, hards and mediums. It's gonna be interesting. Hard, medium, or medium hard. We'll find out soon. Ten seconds before we can go ready. 8:27 local time. 9:27. We're located where I am. Just got an update about the weather. So we're gonna start off dry for quite a decent amount of time, and then we're gonna move on to what looks to be intermediates, and then it's gonna dry up again at the very end of the race. Anyway, we get ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. The 5 lights are on. Josh Boschman has got a drive-through penalty already with not a great start for Prima Storm from pole position. He's got Zimniak up the inside into turn 1, but is unable to get past Sapphire Reese. Going off, Zimniak gets touched and spun around by championship leader Sean, which promoted Alpha Wall into the top 3. Lofty Pickle trying to go around the outside of Zimniak. That's not going to work out on the hards. Prima Storm though has stormed off the line and is in the lead of this race on the hards. Let's take a look at the tires while we're at it. He's the only one on hards outside of the top 4, with Reese following very, very closely behind, almost pushing him through the corner. Alpha Wall on mediums, as well as Zimniak. Then we've got Lofty Pickle and Sean both on the hards. But Sean lost out 4 positions since the start of this race. Got his teammates right behind him as well on mediums. Then Sunday on hards, and then Cannon and Jesus, 2 of the championship contenders, are both on mediums. So different to Sean's strategy. Then Skokiller in P11 on hards. Scored on mediums, and a load of guys on the hards, except for K1 Skies and Hesby, and Josh Boschman having all sorts of trouble reversing right now on this bridge. He's got a drive-through penalty, front wing damage. Well, worst possible start to a race you can have. Same can't be said though for Prima Storm, although he's under very much pressure from Sapphire Reese, who's gone off and got a 3-second time penalty already after just 1 lap of racing. That's not a good sign for his chances of the win tonight. DRS has been enabled. And let's see if Reese is gonna try and get past already this early on in the race. Having a look up the inside, but staying behind for now. Josh Boschman retiring after just 1 lap, and there's contact between the leading 2 as Reese into the back of Pry, who fortunate enough to keep it pointing in the right direction somewhat, but already contact between the 2. The connection is not great at the moment, but we'll have to live with it. And Reese is all over the back of the Alpine. Now with the help of the ERS, and ERS is going to go to the inside of Pry, and that's position gained. And Reese takes the lead on this race on a lap 2. As Alpha Wall makes contact with Zimniak, who's had a better exit, tried to go for the switchback. And there's a bit of contact between the two, but in the end Zimniak does get the job done and is into the podium positions. But a 3-second penalty already, well, not great for Reese, especially when you've got so many drivers right behind him. On to lap 3 now, and is Pry gonna attempt a pass to retake the lead of this race? He is on the inside with the help of DRS, and that's a pretty easy pass, and he's back into the lead of this race. Asa up into P13, has got past the oh, Jens is into the wall on the exit. That's a very strange crash, and the virtual safety car has been deployed. That was minor contact with the wall, but it just popped off his front left wheel, and the McLaren is out on lap 3. Virtual safety car has been deployed. What a strange accident that was, but the McLaren is out. Let's see, it's already 2 retirements after only 2.5 laps of racing. No full safety car though, so challenge is gonna be to not get a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car conditions. The front ring didn't even brake, yeah. Was very, very strange. The damage is on standard. It should be at least. And let's check. Standard reduced, yeah, like it is always. But just clipped the wall. Very, very strange. But has unfortunately got a drive-through penalty. He's even driving. He is down in the last place though, so both of the Haas drivers with some sort of penalty. And racing all over the place, going off track once again, so no chance of getting that penalty removed. From just got another warning just there. Yellow flags were out for a moment, and I think it was K1 Skies who has gone off. Massive train of cars covering the entire top 12. Basically the leading group. That's more than half the field. On to lap 5 we go. Pry still in the lead. Half a second advantage over Reese in P2. Still Zimniak and Alpha Wall. 3-second penalty for Mitch. Both of the V cars, P13 and P14, not the greatest of days so far, but still in this race. He has been getting his drive-through penalty removed. We'll have to hope for a safety car. I wonder if anyone is gonna hit that wall on the bridge. down into the braking zone, into the hairpin, and get themselves out of the race. And that is, what the hell was that? Lofty Pickle and Alpha High Wall coming together, and it's not the first time we've seen Alpha High Wall being involved in a collision, but it's taken Lofty Pickle out of the race, and it's deployed the safety car. Alpha High Wall left with, I think that's front wing damage, but I think he just squeezed Lofty Pickle into the wall there. Didn't seem to be much room for the Aston Martin. And well, Lofty Pickle is out. Alpha Wall still in the race. As we see Zimniak into the pit lane, as well as Alexis Beast, Yundi Sunnis, go-killer as well from the Hearts. So that's an optimistic call in the strategies, but if it's gonna rain soon, you might as well just pit now and put on a set of mediums or softs, depending on how far the rain is away. Unisuni has gone on to the Hearts, Simniak as well. Half eye ball with front ring replacement. Same for K1 Skies, I think that was when he went off earlier, a few laps ago. Well, take a moment to breathe after a spectacular opening a few laps of this race. Hespe's gone on to softs, so how far is the rain away? That's the question, and how hard is it gonna rain? Lap 6 on to 7 of 31, and I think on this next lap we might see the safety car pull it back into the pit lane, although his speed is quite far off, 40 seconds to be exact, so Steve's going to be able to close that gap on the next lap. Right, gonna have to do another lap behind the safety car. That's, well, or has to be actually, if the rain is coming soon. What's going on with 10th Cannon? Has she, what's happened there? In the hairpin, she's lost control of some sort. Under a safety car. How the hell did that happen? Down to P12 for driver third in the championship. One more lap behind the safety car, then it's certainly going to go in as he finally catches up to the field. So it's going to go in at the end of this lap, which leaves us with 23 laps still to go. Still a long way to go. Singapore usually one of the longest races on the calendar. Trying to get temperature into the tires, which is incredibly difficult on this game, especially to do it on your own. AI does it perfectly, but recommend using that. Could cause some issues. Very different compared to the last game, where you could just use 30% brakes and full throttle, I think it was, and it would heat up basically instantly. That's unfortunately removed on this game. I've got to actually weave to get any temperature into the tires, as the safety car is now going in this lap and probably slowing down very much so. Gonna decide the pace, and when they're going back to throttle, still have to wait before the safety car enters the pit lane, of course. As it has now, and still waiting. And there he goes, and it's green flag racing once again as Prima Storm leads the way. Going on to lap 9, Sapphire Reese still in P2 ahead of Sean, who is now being promoted into the top 3 on an alternative strategy. He is on the harsh Jesus in P4 after all that, as well as had a bit of a moment. I think Alpha High Ball has been overtaken and the rain is out. It's raining already on lap 9, and that's way earlier than expected, as Pry hits the wall, or hits the curbstone on the inside. But the rain's already out on lap 9, and that's good news for everyone who has stayed out. Because no one's has switched on to the intermediates, but how quick is the track gonna get wet? How quickly do we need to go to the intermediates? Reese is struggling a lot on his mediums, under pressure from behind from championship leader Sean. As the track gets slippier and the conditions get trickier. It's not going to be wet enough to go into the pit lane already. Oh, and that's a moment from Reese into the final corner, and now Sean is going to have a go up the inside into turn 1. Is he alongside? He is into turn 1. He gets the job done, and Sean takes second place into this race after just a little mistake from the Haas, and it's enough to lose him a position to the Red Bull. See a massive train of cars behind. Simniak is having a go at Mitch on the inside. Still there on the outside, but on the exit it's Simniak getting ahead. Ooh, very close to contact between himself and Alexis the Beast as well, who's trying to go the long way around the outside, which will turn into the inside for the next turn. And I think that is job done as well. And now the next one's coming sailing by, Yundi Sundi. Oh, contact, and into the wall goes Mitch in George Russell corner. I'm not sure if he's got damage. He goes very deep and gets passed by all sorts of drivers, and he gets touched by the Williams. And he's just completely backing off now, letting everyone through. It's all kicking off at the back end of this field. As the conditions get worse, Simniak gets past the other V-car and is now into the top 6 as the first driver on a new set of tires. Anyone gonna pull into the pit lane? Not yet. Oh, obviously not wet enough yet for intermediates. Oh, and that's a spin from F1 Skies in the final corner. Very close to the pit lane wall. But capped it out of the barrier. But then immediately cuts the next corner though. So gets a 3-second penalty. Oh. Goes straight into the wall, as well as Jesus is now getting past Reese as well. So Reese seems to be struggling a lot in these changing conditions. Asa and Alexis Beast going at it, wheel to wheel, and Alexis Beast gets past on his new mediums compared to Hasa's used hards. Now going to be under threat from behind from Yundi Sundi for P9. Slight touch on the rear. Another position gained for Zimniak, gets past Corder, who's having a pretty good race so far. P6 he is at the moment, on very old mediums though. Just gonna have to hope that it's gonna be wet enough for intermediates sooner rather than later. Oh, and two leaders going wheel to wheel, Primer, Storm and Sean going at it in the final corner, and Bryce staying ahead, but I think there was an attempt from Sean to try and get past into turn 1. That is Sean getting a 3-second penalty, cutting the track, and well, that's ruined his chances of the win. And that's not the first time we've seen him getting a penalty while fighting for the win, and the first drivers are putting into the pit lane for intermediate. Simniak has got past Reese, although there's contact between the two. Simniak on the inside with Reese on the outside, and eventually he gets the job done, but they didn't entirely keep their noses clean. And we've got Alexis Reese, Kokula, Alpha Wall, Hesby, F1 Skies and Mitch all into the pit lane, and they've all switched on to a set of intermediates. And we're gonna keep an eye out on the gap between Alexis Beast and the cars in front. And I think it was the right call to go in, because Alexis Beast is gaining a few tenths here and there. This might be the turnover point. Scorer forming quite a bit of a terrain. With Yundi Sunni and Haza and Soul Demon there as well. Alexis Beast is now certainly gaining time, down to 19 seconds. So that's another second gain. And is Pry gonna pull into the pit lane? No, he's staying out for another lap. Sean is not. He is pulling into the pit lane. Goes a bit wide though on the pit entry. It's a very awkward pit entry. Don't get into the wall. That was very, very close for comfort for our championship leader. But there he goes, as Pry gets a 3-second penalty as well. So that's both of them now with a penalty. Let's put Jesus in contention for the win now. So it's all kicking off on lap 13. And here is Alexis Beast, and where are they gonna come out compared to him? He's up into P8, still behind Jesus, barely. He is ahead of Skorder and Yundi Sundi. Intermediates are by far the quickest tire right now. Look how fast Sean is gaining time. 16 seconds turned into 15 seconds. Gaining loads of time in every single corner. It's going to be a matter of time before the top 5 are pulling into the pit lane. There we go, Pry into the pit lane, Zimniak as well. Oh, and Pry has gone off and he's run into the wall from the lead of this race. Pry, as he enters the pit lane, loses control of the car and spins straight into the wall. And I'm not sure if he's got front wing damage, but his chances of the win are reduced to absolute 0. He's got front wing damage and they don't even change the wing. It's made it absolutely worse. It's high drama, and it's a disaster for Alpine, because he's gonna have to pull into the pit lane once again to try and get his front wing replaced. Hassa has stayed out, by the way, in the lead on the hards for some reason, but that's now Sean in the virtual lead of this race, but with a 3-second time penalty. It's actually Jesus now who is virtually leading ahead of Alexis Beast in P2. And then in Zimniak, as DRS has now been disabled. That's usually the sign to go into the pit lane, but it's been a bit earlier. In this particular case, Zimniak going off at the beginning of Sector 2. Skolkiller is in a very good position as well. P5 it will be. Followed by Skorder and Yundi Sundi. Then it's Pry who was probably struggling with the front wing damage. But he is ahead of Sapphire Reese. It's pretty crazy to imagine that these two were fighting for the lead of this race not too many laps ago. And now they're at the back end of the top 10. As Hassa attempts to go into the pit lane, but is forced to stay out, because that pit lane is so incredibly awkward. He runs straight to the curb and just straight up gave up trying to pull into the pit lane, and he's now, well, not great. Gonna lose so much time with doing another lap. Disastrous race so far for V-Carb, and it's been a disaster for V-Car altogether this week, because in Tier X and Tier 1 there was a double DNF in both of the races. As Sean is now caught up to the back, and is gonna, well, get past very easily as he takes the lead on track. Hassa going off, struggling for grip as Jesus gets past now as well. And it's the gap now between Jesus and Sean down to 1.2 seconds. Alexis Beast gets past as well, as Hassa's turning into a bit of a moving chicane. There goes Zimniak as well, up into P4. Be near the halfway point of this race, with Red Bull and Mercedes covering the entire top 4. A massive train behind Skolkiller, all the way down to P12 that is. Can Hassa now finally get into the pit lane? He can. So on his second try, he gets the job done. The damage has already been done to his race. Another 3-second time penalty for Reese. Riding on board with Skolkiller in the with Skorder in the Skolkiller train, and is Skorder gonna try and go for the move? No, Not quite with that kink, and Primus Storm on the inside and making contact with Unisuni because he doesn't have a second half of his front wing, so that's what you're gonna be expecting when you go on the brakes. Trying to attempt an overtake. He gets the switch back though, as we see Squirtle and Skulker fighting it out. Unisuni gets passed by Primus Storm as Soul Demon wheel to wheel with Sapphire Race. Is now down to P11. Absolute disaster. Well, and gaggle of cars now trying to attempt going into a hairpin all at the same time. Bit of contact has been made. Primus Storm getting the job done, is back into the top 5 despite his front wing damage. Squirtle is now to P10, losing out a bunch of positions. That's Unisuni driving into the back of Skulker on the straight. Too much overspeed for the McLaren. As 10 Cannon trying to go for the move on the inside of Unisuni, but doesn't quite have the speed to get the job done. Skulker so slow coming out of the corners and almost squeezing Unisuni into the wall, but goes deep into the next turn, and that is Unisuni passed. Now Skulker is fighting it out with 10 Cannon, who goes sailing around the outside, and that would be an incredible move if she gets it done, as she does. Nice move, and up into P7. And Squirtle is going wheel to wheel with Soul Demon on a part of the track where you don't want to go wheel to wheel at, and that's almost squeezed into the wall. Somehow they don't end up into the wall. Absolute miracle. Oh, contact once again. Both Mercedes drivers are chasing, and both of the Red Bulls. Jesus still around 1 second. And he knows that he just has to finish his race at this point, and he will be the one on the top step of the podium. Because Sean has got that 3-second time penalty. Zimniak is now right at the back of Alexis Beast. Close enough to try and attempt an overtake. And Cannon might be to the back of Unisuni with the help of a bit of slipstream ERS. She's gonna go to the inside, not quite, because Unisuni covers it up. But it's going a bit deep though. And now on the inside, ooh, not quite. And the McLaren staying ahead for the time being. Difficult to overtake around Singapore, especially when it's raining. Now onto the inside, into the final few corners, it backs out. Eventually Skulker going way too deep and gets done around the outside by Soul Demon in his debut, doing a good job so far, running in P8. Look at the gap between the top two. It's Jesus only 0.2 of a second behind Sean. And Zimniak also incredibly close to the back of Alexis Beast once again. And we switch back to the fight for P6. The tent cannon still stuck behind the McLaren. Side by side, Reese and Skorder. Reese trying to go the long way around the outside. That's not going to work out. And he finds it out. Skorder does have to, it seems to be front wing damage to the Aston Martin. I think he's missing a front wing end plate. He is. The left side of his front wing is missing, so that explains his drop in pace as Hespe has put on the full wets. This is really raining that hard because as Mitch is going into the wall, he's having a bit of trouble. And it does seem to be raining quite significantly harder than it was a few moments ago. So are wets really the right decision? Because of what I heard was that it was going to dry up at the end of the race. So that's a tough decision to make. Fortunately, I don't have to. But these drivers certainly do, and Primus Storm is putting into the pit lane. And probably gonna go onto the wets. Gonna have his front ring replaced as well. We'll lose quite a bit of time with that. Gonna keep an eye out on his pace, down to P15. Currently 9 seconds behind Haza ahead, who was pitted a few laps ago to a new set of intermediates. So let's see if Fry is any quicker than the cars in front. Really gaining much time compared to the drivers around. Might have been a bit too early, although he is gaining a few tenths here and there, but it's not a massive advantage. And Tent Cannon, has she finally got the job done? Not quite, because Sundi hangs it around the outside and is able to retake that now 5th position in this race. Another one with the penalty scorer, 3 seconds, and he's putting into the pit lane as well. So he believes that the wets are the way to go. Alpha Wall as well into pit lane, both switching on to a set of full wets. Then laps to go in this race, and is it going to be full wets to the end, or will the rain get lighter for the next few laps? So will the wets only be good temporarily? Moment Bry is gaining a lot of time, down to 7.5 seconds. It was 9 seconds a lap ago. So full wets certainly quicker at this stage. But are they quick enough? Then Cannon finally got the job done. Around the outside, a bit of contact. Yeah, it's not a lot of room given by Yunusuni, but then Cannon finally able to get past, and Soul Demon trying to get past both of them, and he does into turn 1. Gets the position of Tent Cannon and Yunusuni. What a move, and that's 2 for the price of 1. Up into P5, albeit with a time penalty, and it's a lead change in this race because Jesus has taken the lead. On lap 22, he's finally got past the Red Bull of Sean, and it took him quite a lot of laps, but he finally got it done, and the gap between these two to Alexis Speed and Simniak is not very big either. And that's Hesby into the wall, by the way, on the bridge. Lost control. Getting lapped now by top 4. At the moment, nobody else is putting into the pit lane for full wets. Look at the gap that Jesus is already creating. 1.3. He's pulled to Sean. And this might be a great day for Mercedes, as Tent Cannon gets back ahead of Sol and finds herself back into the top 5 for what is a very decent comeback drive from 10th on the grid. SP has retired in pit lane. Tent Cannon will of course be losing out to both Jesus and Sean in the championship. It's a solid comeback drive regardless. F1 Skies is putting in to the pits as well for presumably a set of wets. It is. I'm not quite sure if it's the right call, because Prima Storm is still almost 5 seconds behind Haza. Yes, he is gaining a few tenths every lap, but gap's not rapidly decreasing to the point where he gets an entire pit stop advantage back. He is chasing the two V-carbs though, P10 and P11 at this moment. Top 4 is now all within 1 second of each other. The closest it has been so far in this race, besides the opening laps. Jesus leading by 7 tenths over Sean. Eight laps to go. Two V-carbs swapping positions. Haza now ahead in P10. See Prime Storm approaching in the background. Completely cutting the track though, so yeah, even I can gain time like that. But the gap's down to 2.5. Gonna be 7 laps to go, and it's a 4-way fight for the win on track. Although Jesus is now creating a gap again to Sean. It's grown to 1.3 again. Prima Storm has finally caught up to the back of Mitch now. Very old intermediates, but it looks like the rain is getting lighter now. Certainly is not as heavy as it was a few laps ago. The wets are probably going to be quicker right now purely on tire wear rather than actual grip. Up the inside goes the Alpine and gets past while going off track. To be 11. Six laps to go. Is it gonna dry up? That's gonna be the question. Quite dry just yet. Oh, and that's 3-second penalty for Zimniak. Oh, and that's unfortunate because that's, well, his chance of finishing on the podium pretty much gone, unless he finds a way past Sean. But not quite the case so far, as he is behind Alex's Beast as well. Whew. Reese with a big moment trying to get past Skull Killer. Actually hitting the inside wall. And front wing damage as well. Not sure if it's because of that, but well, he does have damage to his front wing. And Skull Killer, not sure what is going on, but he's very slow through these corners. Another 3-second time penalty for Prima Storm to add salt to the injury, as Reese trying to find a way past. We'll have to go the long way around the outside as Alexis Beast gets a 3-second penalty as well. And that's throwing it all open for Zimniak, who's immediately trying to get past on the main straight on the inside, wheel to turn one. It's not going to go well. Someone's going to have to go off track. And it's Alexis Beast having to go off and staying ahead of Zimniak. But I think he's probably got an illegal overtake, and he has. And that's Zimniak up into P3 onto a legitimate podium position now with 5 laps to go. Jesus is pretty safe in P1 right now without a penalty, but the fight for P2 is definitely not over yet, because Sean is now in a P2 position with his penalty. A dry line forming, although it's still not dry. You can see the lighter part of the track. Alexis Beast struggling to hold on to the cars in front. His tires are the oldest of the top 4. The gap's now grown to 1.4 seconds to Zimniak. He's hungry for more. It's gonna try and make it a 1-2, possibly for Mercedes. Now right at the back of championship leader Sean. Sean, who is at the moment is still the championship leader, but if Jesus finishes this race ahead of Sean in P1, then he will inherit that championship lead. Same for Mercedes in the constructors. Be a big day in the championships. And there we've got our first driver onto the slicks. Corner has gone for the gamble with 4 laps to go. Even though it's still very much raining, he's gone onto a set of softs. Because why not? He's got nothing to lose. Trying to keep temperature into the tires is going to be very difficult. See him sliding around already. Still too early, I fear, for the slicks. Close to that wall. He can very easily take you out of the race. Not actually losing too much time to Alpha. Well, all he is with that moment. Half a second down the drain, but it's better than I expected it to be. But still don't think it's time for slicks with 2 laps to go. I don't think it's going to be time at all for slicks. Stay out till the end of the race. Jesus is still holding on to that lead. It's got a 10th still, Sean. Once again, Skoker, one of the only drivers without a penalty. And we see that so often. That's where you get the good results. Last week it got him P4. Well, this week it is going to get him P8. 10 seconds behind Yundisundi. He's got a 3-second penalty only. Sapphire race with 12 seconds. At this point I think he will ever lose out to Haza. So it's very, very, very close though. And Cannon also without a penalty. So we're gonna keep her in P5, while being under pressure from Sol from behind. Very close to the back of Kick Sauber, and of course we've got Jesus out in front without a penalty, which is very important. We go on to the final lap of this race. DRS has been enabled for a good measure as Sol has found a way past 10th Cannon. And Jesus from P8 on the grid is on course to win this one. 10th Cannon has Sol going at it on the final lap. Zimniak is getting past Sean on the final lap of the race with help of DRS. Sean has just straight up let that happen. And it's now turned into a Mercedes 1-2 on the final lap of this race. Incredible scenes. Sean is down to third and into the wall, and he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture. Sean on the final lap, and he's spinning out. Our championship leader with high drama on the final lap of this race, and he's gonna have to limp back, well, to the checkered flag, but he's gonna lose out a bunch of positions. And Sean, after all of that, is well, not even gonna finish inside the top 4 as he spins again. And it's all it's getting even worse. Well, that's his championship hopes. Well, drowning down into the sink as Jesus comes around the final corner, and he is gonna win the Singapore Grand Prix with his teammate alongside. It's a Mercedes 1-2. Jesus wins ahead of Zimniak, and Alexis Beast, after all of that, finishes on the final spot on the podium. We've got Sol in the end to cross the line in P4, but with the penalties applied, will finish behind Tent Cannon, who finished in P4, Yundisundi in 5th, Sol in P6, Kokeder in P7, ahead of Sapphire Reese. Then it's Sean. If he can keep it in the pointing in the right direction, he will finish in P9. Or P8 with Reese's penalties. But was a contender for the race win for so long in this race. And in the end, it's gonna be P8 for what was our championship leader. Where Mercedes is victorious in Singapore. With a impressive performance from both of their drivers. And especially from Jesus, who has won. Prime Storm has retired from the session, or has left the session rather. Can Scorder snatch that fastest lap point away? No, he can't. Will be P14 for him, just ahead of Alpha Ball as it has dried out on the final lap. Prime Storm, I think, will still finish P13 though. She has crossed the line. As we see the podium with the man Jesus himself on the top step. Not only win this race, but take the lead in the Drivers' Championship as well. Zimniak, by the way, from 8th on the grid to P1. Absolute driver of the material. Zimniak P2, and with the fastest lap point, Alexis Beast, finally on the podium. Tent Cannon, good comeback drive. Same for Yundisundi and Sol from 17th to P6. Skolker in P7. Steady job. Sean, oh, in the end we saw what happened. P8 it is. Ahead of Sapphire Reese on 3rd on the grid. Must be disappointed after that one as well. And then it's the two V carbs of Hasa and Mitch. Ahead of K1 Skies in P12, Scorder in P13. And then Alpha Ball, and then Prime Storm will be somewhere in between there. Final one of the point scorers. Then 4 retirements has Speedlofty Pickle Jens and Josh Boschman on lap 1 of 31. But Mercedes on top with Jesus victorious. And a commanding drive. Our new championship leader. Next week it's not going to be any racing. It's a break week in Broke Boys, but the week after we return for round 10 of 12. Yes, only 3 rounds remain, and in 2 weeks' time we return for the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Hope to see you then, but that's it for tonight, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.